All right, guys. So I understand that you did your cute little video on your own, but there's some pieces that I feel like you missed. So I want to go through this lesson. That way you can make sure that you have that stuff for the trick that I have up my sleeve. Mwahaha. All right, lesson 5% of change. So a percent of change is a ratio that compares a change in quantity to an original amount. Your equation is the amount of change over the original amount. You find that amount of change usually with subtraction. If your quantity has increased or gotten bigger, then you have a percent of increase. If your quantity is decreasing or getting smaller, then you have a percent of decrease. And the only difference between those two equations really is the word increase and decrease. The idea is still the same. The concept is still the same. All right, example number 1. Find the percentage change in the cost of gasoline from 1970 to 2010. Round to the nearest whole percent if necessary. So we're going to start by taking the, first I'm going to ask you, am I getting bigger or am I getting smaller? Well, the gas price used to be $1.30 and now it's $2.95. So it's getting bigger, so this is a percent increase. And we remember how well Miss Kimmy writes on her computer screen. So what we need to do is we need to take, I pushed a button, is we need to take the change price, which is going to be that $2.95 minus $1.30, which gives us $1.65. And then I need to take that $1.65 divided by the original price, which was $1.30. And when I do that in my calculator, I get about 1.27. Remember, we're rounding correctly. So I'll show you what that looks like. See how that says 269? Well, think about this. If I only can deal with 2 pennies, like 35 cents, that's 2 numbers after the decimal place, then I have to stop where the 6 was. I take a look at the guy next to him. The guy next to him is 9. That causes him to bump up, so it's 27. But that's a percent as a decimal. Remember, we always have to turn percents from the decimals into the percentage by moving the decimal place to the right. I'm going to write that on there, and I'm not going to handwrite it because that would go over very well. So I'm trying to get a small size. And so when I do that, it gives me 127%. And now this is the issue that I had with your video to start with, is that you didn't tell me if it was an increase or decrease. So what's going on to these numbers? Well, if I go back to the original, I went from $1.30 to $2.95. So this is going to be an increase, because in the end, my numbers got bigger. No, that's not a 9, it's a percent sign. So 127% increase. Number 2, Yusuf bought a DVD recorder for $280. Now it's on sale for $220. Find the percentage change in the price, round to the nearest whole percent if necessary. So I'm going to take the change, and let's think about this. I go from 280 to 220, so I'm getting down. So this is a percent decrease. So again, we're going to have to start with not the original amount this time, but we still take the bigger number, which is 280, minus the smaller number, which is 220, which means that change by an amount of 60. In this case, $60. So $60 over the original 280. Again, gives me about 0.21. And then I need to move that over twice, so 21%. And we already said that it was a decrease, so 21% of a decrease. So 21% decrease. Yay. All right, percent error. The percent error is a ratio that compares the inaccuracy of an estimate or amount of error to the actual amount. So if you're finding a percent, it's very similar to percent change. The only difference is I'm going to say the word error instead. So say you are talking about gumballs, and you say that there's about 300 in here, but they're actually 400. You still take that change, so we're going to still take that 400 minus the 300. Gives me 100. So the difference is 100, still divided by the original, or in this case, the actual amount. Technically, your original guess was 300, but because we're gonna divide by the actual, we're gonna divide by 400, which gives me 0.25, which is 25%, as you can see already above, and that's going to be a 25% error. So there's really not much different with percent increase or decrease or error. You just have to figure out what word are you being asked for. Are you asking for the error, or are you asking for the increase or decrease percentage? And the questions will say that in there. They'll say, what's the percent error? What's the increase error? What's the decrease error? So on and so forth. Next one. This is based off of error, by the way. See how it says the word? It's my highlighter. See how it tells me to find the error? Since it tells me to find the error, that's how I know that I'm going to do that last one. All right, Ahmad wanted to practice 3 throws. He estimates that the distance from the free throw line to the hoop and marks it with chalk. He estimates it's about 13.5 feet. It's actually 15 feet. So we're going to go ahead and take the difference. So 15 minus 13.5, which gives me 1.5. And then I take that 1.5 divided by the actual, which is actually 15, which gives me 0.1. And then I turn that into a percentage. So that's 10% error. All right, gentlemen, come find out what your super secret surprise is.